following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
I am back, and you are comfortably zoned with me, the Zigzag Man, in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco, and across the moat from Oakland. As is my wont, I speak to some of the most interesting people on the face of the planet. Today's no exception. My buddies Hal Bock and Alan Blumkin, we're going to talk a little ball. Welcome back from the DL, Alan Blumkin.
Thank you very much. On June 7th, I went to the hospital for what I thought was a routine angiogram, and they found 2 arterial blockages, and they operated right away. So I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I was released on June 22nd. I'm here, and I'm progressing.
Good. This is the year of recovery. Hal, you had some eye surgery earlier in the year.
I had cataract surgery, and here I am.
Okay.
I'm blinking along here.
Both eyes have been completed?
Yes, both eyes. I had the left eye done first and then the right eye. And it's not a pleasant experience. Alan, I'm sure, did not have a pleasant experience.
No.
You get through it. You get through it.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Microcosm of life. Not a pleasant experience all the time, but you get through it, really.
Yeah. You guys want to talk about baseball in England?
I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. And
Hal, do you watch that?
No, I did not watch that because I am not a fan of. First of all, I'm not a fan of American League baseball, and I'm certainly not a fan of baseball in England. I just thought it was, it's a money grab, and it's a.
Yeah, exactly. But I put down on a couple of Facebook sites that I'm on. So I don't know what I was watching those 2 days, but sure as hell wasn't baseball. Yeah, the first game, there were 4 6-run innings, 2 by each team. In fact, the first inning, the Yankees got 6 at the top and gave 6 back in the bottom. It was insane. Yeah.
Was that poor pitching, or? It
was a combination of everything. They had the deepest part of that park was 385 feet.
So that's a gimme for a home run.
Of course, yeah. The pitching was horrible. But neither pitcher in the first game got through the first inning.
That's awful.
It was, and the second game.
The parody of the game, It's...
Yeah, exactly. They tried. There was a tour that John McGraw led after the 1913 season, and they tried this in England, and England did not respond to it.
So they did well. Give the fans credit. They came out.
What fans? They were all American. Americans who flew. Most of them were Americans who flew over.
I think the Red Sox offered tickets to their season ticket holders. That might have had a lot to do with it.
Then I also heard that both games come off the Red Sox home schedule.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's a problem for me. If I'm a Boston resident, I buy a season's ticket. I buy a ticket for 81 games, not 79.
Yeah, the owner of the Red Sox, this man John Henry, also owns one of the biggest soccer teams over there.
Oh, what does that do for me if I'm a fan?
Nothing.
Well,
but the Steinbrenners are not going to give up 2 home games for this, or even 1 home game for this.
Yeah, it should have been 1-1 if you're going to do it,
Yeah, Steinbrenner said no. It's either 2 or 0, or we're not going.
Fine, stay home.
Yeah, and they already said they had Manfred in the booth, the commissioner. They said next year they're sending the Cardinals and Cubs over there.
Right, I know. Yeah.
I don't know. Baseball it's not like basketball. Basketball is worldwide.
They're trying to spread the brand, They're trying to.
Yeah, I know that.
Make it more of an international game.
It's more crap.
It's not an international game.
No, it's not. It never has been. I mean, if they play it in in the Caribbean. They play it in Mexico. They play it in Japan. The only European country that has any sort of a league is the Netherlands.
Well,
Italy has quite a program, I understand.
Who?
I'm talking to Tony.
Italy? Yeah, I understand that they, but it's most of the continent. It's not going to catch on.
I don't know. I have a major problem with the integrity of the game is affected in my mind when you take two teams and put them in a foreign country to play games that count. I mean, the game is the game.
They do that with Japan. They do that with Japan. They were opening the West Coast teams like the Mariners and the A's were opening to see a season in Japan. They play 2 games over there. They come back and they play exhibition games here for a week before the regular season starts. And they also play games in Mexico.
And also, you wonder about the treatment of the athletes, the physical drain on the athletes. I mean, I've flown to London a few times in my life, and it takes a while. It takes a day or so to get yourself back together.
Well, they had 2 off days before these 2 games, and 1 off day after the 2 games.
Now they're playing the Subway Series tonight.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
I don't know. It just seems to me that, I'm not a fan of the Subway Series particularly. I think that's a hokey kind of a deal, but it just seems to me that you're toying with the integrity of the game. Both teams wore their home uniforms. I don't know.
They don't care. Every team wears 1 million uniforms during the season for this day and that day. They wear it's all geared to sell stuff.
Hey, Ralph.
Hey,
Ralph.
David Hubler.
Yeah,
hi, David.
Yeah, I was just about to call when all the power went out around here. We've just been in one of the worst thunderstorms I can recall. And all the power went out, so I couldn't even call on my regular home phone, and I had to dig through papers to find your number in my book. So I'm here. Okay.
Oh, good. David,
and
Alan Blumkin is here. And
I heard Alan. Okay. I wanted to talk. You asked me about picking a topic. You guys have talked about it, but I did want to talk about the London series a bit.
That's what we've been talking about.
That's what we're doing.
Good. Okay.
As I said, I put down on Facebook. I don't know why I was watching those 2 games. It sure as hell wasn't baseball.
It was a softball. There were softball games.
I'm offended by it. I'm offended by the idea of them shoving that down our throats and claiming that this is a baseball game. It's not a baseball game. You're not playing. First of all, both teams are wearing their home uniforms. What is that all about?
Does that matter? Does that make so much difference? That doesn't make any difference to me.
It makes a difference to me. David, that I'm a traditionalist.
I know. So am I in most cases. So am I.
I like the game played the way it's been played for 100 years. I don't like them monkeying with the game. I want the 81 games in Boston and 81 games in New York if I'm a season ticket holder. And they took 2 games away from the Boston fans for no good reason. I don't get it. Other than it's a money grab. We talked about that before you got on the line.
Well, they're going to do it again next year, They're going to do it again with the Cubs and the Cardinals.
I know. It's a money grab.
Well, yeah, it's a money grab, but it's also, they're falling so far behind the NBA, the NFL. They all play games all over the place. I mean, you got to give them credit for trying something anyway.
The basketball is a universal game because you don't
why
need
is
much.
it a universal game?
All you need is a hoop and a ball.
It's a universal game because they play it all over. And the reason they play
all over the world. Baseball, they don't play all over the world.
No. First of all, the game they play all over the world is soccer. And the reason, and you're right, Alan, the reason they play soccer all over the world is because it's the cheapest game in the world. You can play in a desert, you can play in a mountaintop, and all you need is something round to kick. You don't need any equipment. You don't need any goalposts. You can put down 2 shoes and play and I've seen games played like that, but the NFL comes to Wembley Stadium. They make a big deal out of it. The NBA plays games all over.
They send the Jaguars over there for most of the game because the owner of the games over in London, because the Jaguar owner has a crazy idea that he's going to move the franchise there.
Well,
and the Patriots don't go there. None of the top teams go over there.
The first book I wrote, you got to believe, was a comic novel about a spoof on the NFL, and the part of the plot was that they were going to move the Giants, the football Giants, to Beijing because they had such a huge population there, and it was Nixon who was working this deal behind. That was part of the main plot of the book. People have still remember reading it. It came out like in mid '80s. But anyway, I mean, they're gonna start playing games in Mexico City regularly. They're gonna start playing games. There may be another Major League Baseball team in Canada soon. I mean, you can't stop that.
They were supposed to play the Rams and the Chiefs, who were two of the better teams in the NFL last year. Were supposed to play a game in Mexico, and the field in Mexico was so bad that they had to, send the game back to whoever the home game it was. Rams home game, I think it was.
I mean, I saw an all-star NBA game in Mexico City.
Oh, really? Yeah, but that's easy to
world
do.
be free.
You got a 94-foot court, and that's
right,
it.
Sure.
A couple of baskets, and a ball. So
frankly,
it's a simple thing. But,
I was surprised how good the field looked. I mean, I wasn't there, obviously, but I thought they did a pretty remarkable job of turning. When you looked at the technical matters that they overcame to put that baseball field down on top of that soccer pitch or football pitch, they did a pretty good job. I mean, there was plenty of room on
the foul balls. The foul territory was huge. I never saw a foul territory, even by the Oakland A's Coliseum standards.
Yeah, that's right.
This was terrible,
right.
And the fences were short. Next year, maybe they'll bring the fences in. They'll bring the fences into 250 feet, so anybody hits a fly ball gets a home.
Come on. I'm as much of a traditionalist as any of the guys around here, and I just don't believe that. I mean, I give them a B for effort. I mean, I didn't think they took the two most popular teams, two of the best teams in the game, and they went over there and they played. They didn't take anybody from the teams from California and bring them over there. That would have been too much of a trip. But those guys go to Japan to play. The West Coast teams have opened the season in Japan.
I know
what's
that.
The difference?
I mentioned
so
that
what's
before.
The difference?
But the thing is, those two games were so bad. 17, 13, and 12.
I know.
12-8, the 50 runs in two games.
Now,
but you know what to look at.
We think they were bad, but does baseball want to sell the idea that a high-scoring game is good? And but they didn't do that on purpose. But 60,000 people showed up for those two games each day.
How many English?
That's got to tell you something.
How many English? Most of them were Americans who went over there.
No, I don't believe that because I lived there. There were a lot of people there that liked baseball. They never got to see enough of it. They had lots of questions about American sports. I was there when they televised the first NFL game in Britain, and the crowds, the TV audience was tremendous.
Yeah, because of television, we are becoming a much smaller world, and that could be construed as good or bad. But,
right.
David, I know you're a Yankee fan, but for the moment, make believe you were a Boston Red Sox fan, okay? And you lived in Cambridge, Mass, or someplace like that, Hartford, I don't care, someplace in New England. You're a Boston Red Sox fan. All of a sudden, Major League Baseball tells you, the regular season for the Red Sox is 81 home games. This year, 79. Well, wait a minute. Doesn't that take a competitive advantage away from you to lose two home games?
Not necessarily.
Oh, sure it does. Sure it does.
And it takes it away from the game, yes.
you're much better playing at home than you are playing on the road.
Well, that's true. I agree with you there. But it's from what I heard, I mean, the players were really enthusiastic about doing this. So I don't think they worried about what bed they were sleeping in. Although maybe some of them was
the players
not
aren't smart enough to worry about that stuff. But I'm talking about the fans. You have a fan base that
all right.
Joe the plumber buys an 81-game home ticket program, and they're giving him 79 games.
Okay.
How did that happen?
And they're taking two with the Yankees. You know, if they were taking
That's
two
what
away
I mean.
from Baltimore or Kansas City or teams like that,
take
nobody
away games with the
they wouldn't care.
Take away games with the Kansas City Royals. Take away games with the Yankees. That's the number one rivalry.
First of all,
I didn't like that at all.
You got to admit that's going to draw the biggest TV audience. Kansas City against San Diego is not going to do it for most fans.
Of course not. Well, they know that. So do we.
Monday
it was a marketing thing. I mean,
Monday afternoon,
from top to bottom.
Monday afternoon, the MLB network was televising Kansas City Toronto game. I didn't watch a second of that. I'm sure there were a lot of people out there that didn't watch a second of that because those are two teams going nowhere.
Right.
Here's another question. I have another question. Another question for the integrity of our game. One of the best teams in the American League are the Tampa Bay Rays. They can't draw any people to that stadium. It's a terrible ballpark. So the solution is we're going to move half their games to Montreal, and they're going to play half their games in Montreal and half their games in Tampa. How do you like that solution? You like
the union already said that they'll never go for that. Because the players will be required to keep two homes, and there's too much chaos with that. The union will never approve that.
It is. I mean, you're dealing with if you care about the integrity of the game, you want to move the franchise to Montreal, be my guest. But don't screw around with it. Half the games here, half the games there.
They're locked into that lease in Tampa Bay, I think, to 2027.
I know.
It's terrible. It's a terrible ballpark. The team finally gets good, and still nobody goes out there. I mean, nobody goes to Miami Marlin games either. You look at the crowds. There are no crowds. There are empty seats all over the place. But I didn't hear about this Montreal split. I mean, that would be disastrous for everybody. First of all, Montreal doesn't deserve another team. I mean, they punished Washington for years and years because they moved two teams out of the city. Montreal left. They became the Nationals. So what else? Why are they going to... the players wouldn't go for it either because
players will never go for that split schedule.
Well, no, because they're double... When you play in Montreal, you pay Canadian income tax for those games. I didn't know that until recently. So if they're playing half their games in Montreal and half in Florida, it's going to take a pretty big bite out of their salary.
Well, in the '69 expansion, when they put the Pilots in Seattle, they denied Milwaukee a franchise after the Braves left because Milwaukee had held the Braves to the last year of the lease in 1965 and drew about 475,000. So they punished Milwaukee, and the only reason Milwaukee got a team back was after the Pilots went bankrupt, and Milwaukee's the only place that had a stadium that was ready. That was empty and ready.
Spring training, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Wouldn't it be nice if the game was played and the only thing that mattered was the game instead of money grabs?
And that would be lovely. It'll never happen.
Be nice?
Yes, it would be.
Yeah, you know where it happens? Go to your local high school fields, or your college field.
Or a single A game.
Absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely.
One of the guys I work with has a special blog about minor league baseball. He doesn't care about the majors. He's just a fantastic authority on minor league baseball. And
a good example of how screwed up they are is today is July 2nd. Yesterday was July 1st. July 1st around here is known as Bobby Bonilla Day. You know why? because Bobby Bonilla, who's probably 48 or maybe 50 years old by now, gets $1 million from the Mets every July 1st in deferred salary. And that goes on until 2035.
Wow.
What kind of a screwed-up deal is that?
They also came out.
They saved money when they signed the contract. They didn't pay him money then. And
it also came out that they're paying Brett Saberhagen $250,000 a year for forever. You know.
Chump change by today's standards.
Well, you want to know why the team is screwed up? There's a good example of what the front office, how the front office operates. For example, here's another example. We had a big celebration here this weekend here in New York for the 50th anniversary of the 1969 Mets. It's the Miracle Mets. They went from last place to win the World Championship. Everybody loved this team. And so they paraded out some of the players from that team, survivors. Some of them didn't show up, but many of them showed up. And then in a touching tribute on the scoreboard, they said, we remember those who have left us, and they had names on the scoreboard like Gil Hodges and Yogi Berra, who were members of that 69 team. And two of the names that flashed on the scoreboard were Jim Goska, who was a kind of an obscure outfielder, and Jesse Hudson, who was a left-handed pitcher. Neither of them contributed very much to the championship, but they were on the team in 69. There's only one small problem. Jim Goska is still alive, and so is Jesse Hudson. They screwed it up.
Yeah, they had to apologize to them. They called, apparently.
Well, how do you possibly make a mistake like that? Plus they misspelled Jesse Hudson first name, Hudson.
Yeah, to compound the.
I mean, is there anybody minding the store here? You know.
Well, you know that part of that could be that the Mets don't, and a lot of teams are like this. And again, I'm sorry to say this, but the Yankees are one of the few teams that actually have a living record. They have an old timers game every year. Most teams don't, and I think they keep much better records of their former players than maybe the Mets do. I mean, it seems to me that would be one reason why you would screw up.
Well, it shouldn't be that hard, though. I mean, if you
no, it shouldn't be. Oh, I agree. You know, but I just don't think they have the people. I know. Especially in today's day, you get on the internet and you go to MLB, and you can always find the rosters of the teams for the year. Yeah.
The Yankees bring in with the old timers, they bring in guys who can play a couple of innings. Like this guy Homer Bush, they bring out every year, who really never contributed to their success.
No,
but they bring him out
right.
because he still can play for a few innings. And they extended the game. I watched that Sunday, and they extended the game to 4 innings, the old timers game.
I have an issue with that. Why do they have to play a game? Why can't they just come out, take a bow?
They've been doing that forever, ever since it started.
I know. Why do they have to do that?
I can't answer that.
What the purpose of that is?
Fans love to see the players get out there.
Oh, it's foolish. The guys are too old.
Yeah, when I started watching this way back when, I was watching this one year in the the early 50s. Bobby Doerr, who was retired second baseman, Hall of Fame second baseman of the Red Sox, made a sensational stop in one of these things, and the place went crazy.
Well, I think, the players sort of enjoy it, too. They're
playing 2-inning games, and nobody's taking it seriously. I mean, the pitchers throw meat balls.
It.
They had the Mariano Rivera playing center field. He caught a fly ball, and then he hit a ball, and they played it into an inside the park home run. And they're all laughing, and they don't take any of this stuff really seriously.
No, of course not.
It's not a serious, game. But I just think one of them will pull out a hamstring one of these days, and they'll go limping off the field.
The NBA used to have an old timers game for their All-Star weekend, and one year David Thompson, I think Norm Nixon was the other one. They tore their ACLs. During that, so they stopped the old timers game after that.
Well,
I know that Joe DeMaestri in an old timers day tore his Achilles tendon And
oh my God!
Really, and when you're a middle-aged person, you don't recover from that too quickly.
That's no funny.
Funny.
The first All-Star game that I covered was in 1968, and I saw Harmon Killebrew playing first base, stretch for a throw, and he was out for the rest of the season. I also saw Ted Williams go up against the wall to try and make a catch, broke his elbow, and
that was in 1950,
Yeah, I mean, what's...
and there were repercussions for that.
Game,
Oh, come on.
Hal, you mentioned the Williams elbow. And there was a strange thing because the guy Pete Palmer years ago sent me a breakdown of the home road on the Red Sox from Jimmy Fox through Wade Boggs. Williams hit over 400 in Fenway Park 3 times. The first one was the year he hit 406. The second year was when he hit the 388. The third year was 1951 when he hit over 400 there and 238 on the road because he adjusted his swing so it'd be more productive in Fenway Park when they're playing half the games, and that was the lowest average he ever had on the road. But there was a big after effect with that.
So what is that? What's the point?
The point is that he had to adjust after missing half the season with the broken elbow in 1950. He adjusted his swing to be much more productive in Fenway Park than on the road. He had the worst season on the road that he had his whole career. But he hit over 400 in Fenway Park. When I saw that split, I was stunned.
The split
he had 318 for the season.
Amazing to me is Stan Musial's split. I think he hit exactly the same on the road as he did at home.
Yeah, same hit number of hits. But the one that really gets to me is Chuck Klein. The guy was a pure Baker ball hitter. He's in the Hall of Fame. His splits, the first time he was with the Phillies, was unbelievable. And then they sent the Cubs. Everything fell off, and they went back to the Phillies and piled up great numbers in Baker ball until they moved to then Shibe Park in mid-1938. If they're going to keep
today is in Colorado.
If they're going to keep Helton and Larry Walker and some of these Rocky players out of the Hall of Fame because of their splits, I mean, Chuck Klein shouldn't even be there in the first place.
Right. Well, it's Murphy's not Murphy. Who's the first guy you said before Helton?
Todd Helton.
But the other one?
Larry Walker.
Larry Walker. There's a good case for him to be made for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's a good argument. But I've always had the thing, if you have to argue for a guy, should he really be in? If it isn't obvious that he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, they put Harold Baines in. That opened the door for anybody.
Right.
Okay.
Right. What I don't understand...
Another thing that's affecting... all of this in baseball is the new world of baseball with analytics and the new statistics and spin rates and exit velocity and so forth. And now they shift the players. They shift the infield against pull hitters. So my son, the lawyer, sent me a video the other day. I don't know who the batter was, but he's up at the plate, a left-handed hitter. There are 3 guys on the right side of the infield, and there's one lonely guy on the left side by himself. And this guy who was at the plate bunts. He pushes a bunt down the third base line. The ball rolls into left field, and he winds up on second base. He's got a double. Well, wait a minute. If you were playing normally, it's a 5-3 put-out. But they don't play normally anymore. That's the problem.
Now, one of my friends, close friends who's in Philadelphia, told me he thought Ryan Howard was one of the dumbest players of all time. They started shifting on him, putting second baseman would play in right field, the shortstop would play where the normal second baseman would play. And he kept on hitting these ground balls, and they never got through.
David has a favorite player on the Yankees.
Mark Teixeira.
Right.
Teixeira did that his entire career. I don't think we ever hit No, he would not give in. He said so himself. This is how I play. Yeah. And,
to a certain extent, Williams didn't give in to that shift either.
Yeah. But he was Ted
Williams.
Williams.
Not Ted Williams, though.
You're right, exactly.
Well, Williams' solution to the shift was to hit the ball in the seats.
Yeah.
That's a home run, and you can't defend against that,
Right.
But, and Teixeira was, at his peak, he was a pretty good home run hitter. But after a while, he was just hitting ground balls between first and second, and they were just waiting for him.
You know what today is the anniversary of? 1963. That was the Marichal Spahn game. It went 16 innings. When Mays hit the home run at the bottom of the 16th of Spahn, both pitchers pitched the whole game. And somebody posted this today. Marichal threw 227 pitches, and Spahn threw 201. This is something you'll never see again.
Never, no.
David, you live in Washington, right? Scherzer, in his last few starts has been lights out. And they won't let him complete a game. They bring in some stiff in the ninth inning.
I know.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. He has gone the distance a couple of times this year. But he's one guy. When the manager comes out to take him out, he's giving lip. You go back there. Don't get out of here. I'll finish, and he does. But I don't know if he's doing that so much with Davey Martinez. But he did do that. You could see his lips move on TV.
Can you imagine somebody going up to Warren Spahn and saying, "I'm taking you out because your pitch counts at 100"?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Not only won't you see that
counts
again,
were like about 150 each, and I just
and no Tommy John surgery for these guys. Think about that.
I think the way the game is played today with the 6-inning pitchers, two things that you won't see again. You won't see 20-game winners, and you won't see 300-game winners. I think that era is done.
Yeah, 300.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The rest of the 300-game winners, I said that when Randy Johnson was 300-game. I said that's it.
The last one.
Yeah. And that's not going to happen again.
Game? I don't know. I mean, a friend of mine today said to me, he runs a baseball academy. He says they're messing up the game. They're messing up the game, and I said I agree with you, but they don't ask my opinion.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, what they're doing is not baseball. It's not the game that I grew up with, the game I fell in love with. It's not the same game.
George Case was right. You look at a ball player, all year, and you can tell what he can do and can't do.
That's true.
And basically, they know I'm a member of SABR, and I have to explain to some people at times on Facebook. Because I'm a member of SABR, doesn't mean I believe in all these analytics. I don't believe in most of them.
Oh, I don't think.
Well, they probably link it to Sabermetrics.
Yeah, I know that's what they do.
Yeah. Right.
It's an unfortunate name, and it's just really.
Yes.
But I have the choice of either following it and not following it. A couple of people I know stopped following when they started all this nonsense, but I follow it.
Well, it's still. Ultimately, it's still baseball.
Yeah.
It's still 2 teams, 9 players, or in the American League, 10 players on a team, 9 innings, 3 outs. They haven't changed that yet.
Well, in the minor leagues, what they do when the game gets into the 11th to 12th inning, they put a runner on second base.
Now, isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah, of course it's ridiculous.
I mean, that's not baseball. Yeah. Let's all go home,
And not only that, go home.
Flip a coin.
Like years ago, the record book.
I wrote a column a couple years ago. If they're concerned with the pace of the game and the length of the game, and games stretching over 3 hours, I know how to make the games much shorter. What you do is you put a card table at home plate. You put the 2 managers on each side, and they play Stratomatic baseball, and they'll be done in an hour, right?
Yeah, and this waiving the intentional pass saves a tremendous amount of time.
A lot of time. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course,
That's
you could do
all-
away
that's
with
all
the,
that
you could
made
do
it
away with
different.
the umpires' reviews, and that would take away a good few minutes
You bet.
because those things can go on 4 or 5 minutes.
Well, you got
Yeah.
a couple of umpires because the umpires are unionized that have no business being there. They're terrible.
Well,
Angel
they're
Hernandez,
rated
C.B.
on a
Buckner,
yearly basis.
Joe
So, I mean,
West, who's past his prime years ago. These guys. C.B. Buckner called a game recently, a Yankee game, I think it was, where he had no conception of what the strike zone was.
They make it up as they go along.
Yeah. But
And that's
they
the
can't get rid of these guys.
If it's
because
a
of the
strike
union.
in the first inning, it should be a strike in the 8th inning. But that isn't always the case, you know?
Right.
No, and also if it's a strike for one umpire, it should be a strike for all of the umpires. This thing where umpires have their own strike zone. And
They're all human beings.
There was a guy a bunch of years ago who did a study one year, I think it was in the 80s, on umpires, batting average with the umpires behind the plate. And he published it. And the umpires went ballistic because there was a 30-point difference between the top umpire and the bottom umpire.
Hey, I'm not a bettor, but there are bettors who don't tout the baseball teams. They tout the umpires. And they bet the over or the under, depending on which umpire is
Well,
on.
the over in the first Yankee game, Yankee-Boston game, was 11.5. They covered that in the first inning.
That's right.
And the second game was 15. It took them, when the Yankees got 9 at the top of the 7th, they covered that. But you can't, baseball used to be bet based on the starting pitchers. You can't do that anymore.
Right.
The Dodgers had a game recent.
I'm less concerned with the bettors than I am with the quality of play and the integrity of the game. I want the game to be played the way it's supposed to be played. I don't want fantasy games and make believe statistics and stuff like that. Play the game. Hits, runs, and errors. RBIs and home runs. That's what I want to know. I don't want to know this other stuff.
Callaway goes to his bullpen. They have a bullpen that can't get anybody out. It doesn't matter who he brings in. They're all horrible.
We're talking about the Mets?
Mets, yeah. Mets are leading the majors in blown saves.
Well, you know something? I saw something in Diaz last night, and maybe Hal can confirm this. He brushed back the first two pitches. He brushed this guy back really badly. I mean, and then he pitched him on the outside corner. He regained his part of the plate, and he was all right. You got that, and you got Familia coming back from a sore arm. The Mets could put their bullpen together.
Familia can't get anybody out.
Well, he was hurt,
Familia's just off.
and he's been on the DL. And now that he's back, I'm an optimist. Not just an optimist, I'm a Pollyanna. But I think what with those 4 starters, Matz, Syndergaard, they're very good. DeGrom.
The Mets can't. Another thing, the Mets can't field. They have at least 5 players out there, especially Cano and Rosario, that have absolutely no range, and Cano is done.
Not only that, but
and when they took him from Seattle, they took the entire contract for 4 years.
Right, they had
Seattle wasn't paying a dime for Cano anymore.
They had to get Diaz, and that was where they got screwed.
And their fielders are terrible. And the one center fielder they have, Lagares, he can't hit.
He can't, but they're going to move Rosario to center, and they're going to put this guy, Hecheverria, at short. That's going to steady them up. And maybe, I can't tell you maybe what they're going to do about Cano, because they've got him under contract.
They have him for 4 years.
Yeah.
Buy him out. Buy him out.
He plays at about 60% when he's in there.
General manager has no idea what he's doing.
He doesn't run balls out. He's like Manny Machado. He plays when he wants to play, and the rest of the time he sort of dogs it.
I don't think that this general manager has any idea of what he's doing.
He was an agent.
He was an agent.
The Mets, the two highest paid free agents, Machado and Bryce Harper, both didn't make the All-Star team. Now,
right.
How'd you like to be a fan of those two in those two cities and see what you got?
Harper has looked terrible. Harper is the few games I've seen when they get together with the Nats, he looks awful. I mean, I don't know if he's sitting there thinking about his money all the time, but he's not the Harper who really scorched those balls at Nats Park. He's just another ball player.
Yeah, my favorite.
Machado gave us an insight into his real being when in the World Series he said, "I'm not here to run things out." In the World Series, he says this.
Yeah. You say in spring training, it's one thing, you know.
My favorite.
Right.
But I guarantee
you mean it, and you don't say it for crying out loud. How are you going to get fans to support you after that?
Of course.
My favorite was Yu Darvish.
When Machado signed with San Diego and Harper signed with Philadelphia, the fans went nuts. We got the pennant. We just signed the best player in baseball. We wrapped it up. Now they play the games. That's the whole point. That's why they play the games. That's why baseball is unpredictable. You don't know that Harper or Machado is going to have only a so-so season and not an all-star season. You don't know that.
My favorite signing 2 years ago was after he got rocked with the Dodgers in the World Series twice. The Cubs threw a $21 million a year, 6-year contract to Yu Darvish, who's been horrible when he's not hurt.
Okay, guys, let's end on a positive note. I've been doing this for the last few weeks. Start with you, David. Anything that you saw in baseball recently or you see overall that you want to note on a positive?
On a positive note, I think for the most part, we're seeing some really good playing on the field. And I'm sorry about this emphasis on launch angles because I think it's really hurting guys who could be hitting singles and doubles. They're all trying to hit the launch angle into the seats. But overall, I think it's a pretty interesting season. I'm fairly, I'm fairly good with it.
It's still baseball, and it's better than the off season.
Yeah, that's for sure.
A long shot. How about you, Hal Bock? Anything that stands out on a positive note?
The defensive play around the majors has really been quite good. I've seen some outstanding catches in the outfield, double plays turned. The Yankees turned a double play the other day. It was remarkable. Between the second baseman and the shortstop, the passing of the ball, it was just terrific. So there are defensive plays that stick in your mind, and that makes it worthwhile to watch those games.
Beautiful. How about you, Al Blumkin?
I think there are a lot of very good young players out there, and I think their athleticism is superior than what it was 30 years ago. In fact, when I interviewed Dick Rote in 1985, he told me that he thought the players of then were much better, more athletic than the players that he played with. But I wish they'd get away from the analytics and let them play the way they're supposed to, because there are an awful lot of good young players out there. The Mets have two of them. They have Alonso and McNeil.
That's for sure.
Sometimes it's a treat to watch players like that. The Pirates, who I follow, have a first baseman named Josh Bell, who had 3 home runs yesterday and has made himself into a hitter. So there are good guys out there. It's unfortunate that all you hear about is the bad guys, but there are a lot of good, very, very good young players. And I think the future is bright It would be much brighter if they backed off this analytic nonsense.
Okay, let me say something positive, and it starts with McNeil in my mind. His versatility. He's not the only one in baseball. There are a lot of guys now who are incredibly versatile because with these 15-man pitching staffs, they got to keep a short bench. So guys have to learn to really be helpful, and McNeil is one of them. Wherever you put this guy, he plays well. And it used to be you wondered about switching a guy around. It takes weeks to get the angle off the bat. These guys do it automatically now. Rizzo's a guy with the Cubs.
The Yankees have LeMahieu, who's been a lifesaver for them this year.
Yeah. So that's what impresses me about baseball. It's our game, and I love to talk to you guys about it. We'll do it again next week. George is going to be back. He's on a leave of absence, so to speak. He's camping out with his family. And we're going to talk about it continues to be a factor, the Nike whole thing with how much they really control sports at this point. The Colin Happer thing, or Colin Back. There was something that came out this week that Nike made a decision.
Kaepernick told them not to produce the Betsy Ross sneaker.
Right.
And the reason for that was that, and I found this out quite accidentally today, apparently the Betsy Ross flag has been adopted by white supremacists as their banner. And Kaepernick objected to Nike producing a sneaker which advertised that flag. So it's interesting.
I thought they were marketing it to the girls when I first heard about the Betsy Ross sneakers, but I didn't realize that it has that little flag on the back on the heel. So, and now, of course, it's a instant collector's item.
Oh, absolutely.
They took it off the market, making it the collector's item.
Yeah, well, I heard they're asking a couple of $1,000 for a pair on some of these auction
eBay
sites
or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Knicks are still going to stink.
World we live in.
Yeah, the Knicks are still going to stink.
Thank you.
Okay.
I need realism like a moose needs a hat rack.
Yeah.
But
the Nets are turning to become the pro basketball team here.
Right, beating out the Knicks, of course. All right. Thank you guys again. It's the Comfortably Zoned Network. David Hubler, Hal Bock, Alan Blumkin, and me, Ralph Tyko, the weak link of it all. We'll be back soon, guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Adios.